ever feel like your faith life has seasons?
Seasons.
Yeah, like sometimes you're all in, on fire, praising at the top of your lungs, but then, life happens and you
Yeah.
find yourself in what I call a hoodie season of faith.
Hoodie season. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
What does that look and feel like?
You know that feeling when you just kind of want to pull the hood up,
Uh-huh.
hunker down, and maybe hide from the world a bit? Your praise feels more like a whisper than a joyful noise.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's that familiar feeling of disconnect we can experience in our faith journey. It's incredibly common,
Yeah.
even if we don't always talk about it openly.
And that's what's so powerful about Elevation Worship's song praise.
Okay.
They dive right into that struggle, admitting that it's not always easy to feel like praising.
Right.
Especially when life throws punches.
Yeah.
In fact, they even said in a post about the song,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a direct quote,
Okay.
"There will be seasons when it's hard to see God at work and you'll feel more discouraged than grateful."
It's refreshing to hear that honesty, isn't it? So many people wrestle with those feelings of disconnect, wondering if they're the only one feeling spiritually dry
Right.
or distant. But Elevation Worship doesn't just leave us there.
Absolutely not. They offer a really powerful message, defining praise as a weapon.
Yeah.
It's a way to actively combat those negative perspectives and kind of reclaim our thoughts from negativity.
Yeah.
They even say, and I'm quoting them directly here, praise is how you fight for your perspective. Praise is how you take your imagination back from the enemy.
It's an incredible reframing, isn't it?
It is.
We often think of praise as this passive, feel-good activity, something we do when everything is going well.
Yeah.
But they're challenging us to see it as this active force, a tool we can use to fight for our joy and connection with God, even when we don't feel it.
It's like they're saying, don't let your feelings dictate your faith. And what's amazing is that this struggle isn't new. Thousands of years ago, the writer of Psalm 42 expressed those same feelings of discouragement and longing for past joy and worship.
Absolutely. The psalm paints this incredibly vivid picture of the writer remembering a time when they could easily connect with God through worship.
Yeah.
They talk about walking among other worshipers, leading processions. You can practically hear the music and feel the energy.
Wow.
And yet now they're in this place of deep despair, feeling like they're drowning in their sorrow.
It's heartbreaking, but also incredibly relatable. Even now, it's almost like this feeling of spiritual disconnect transcends time.
Right.
But knowing that others, even those who lived thousands of years ago, have navigated the same struggle, well, it gives me hope. It tells me that there is a way back to that place of connection, even when we don't feel it.
You're absolutely right. There is a way back. And it's found in that very act of choosing praise, even when our hearts aren't in it.
Yeah.
And Psalm 42 offers a powerful example of this.
Okay.
Despite the writer's despair, they make a deliberate choice to say, I will put my hope in God.
It's like they're saying, okay, feelings, I hear you, but I'm choosing to align myself with a different reality.
Yeah.
And that's where the real power of praise as a weapon comes in, isn't it? It's about shifting our focus from our circumstances to the unchanging character of God.
Precisely. It's about drowning out the lies of the enemy with the truth of who God is.
Right.
And Elevation Worship captures this beautifully in their lyrics.
Yeah.
They talk about praising in the valley, on the mountain, when you're doubting, outnumbered, even surrounded.
It's interesting because they don't shy away from the reality of those tough situations. Like, they acknowledge the valley, the doubt, the feeling of being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But then they say, praise is the water my enemies drown in.
Wow.
It's like they're saying, bring on the challenges, bring on the doubts. I'm going to praise my way through them.
And that imagery is so powerful because it speaks to the transformative nature of praise.
Right.
It's not about denying the hard stuff. It's about choosing to flood our minds and hearts with something stronger, something truer than whatever negativity is trying to take root.
It reminds me of that verse in Philippians, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. It's like when we choose to focus on those things, on the character of God, we're actively pushing back against the darkness.
Absolutely. We're choosing to align our thoughts and words with a different reality, the reality of God's goodness, faithfulness, and power.
Yeah.
And that's where we find our foundation, especially when our feelings are as shaky as a house of cards in a hurricane.
Because let's be real, our emotions can be fickle, right? One minute we're riding high on a spiritual mountaintop and the next we're in the depths of despair.
Yeah.
But God Not so much.
Right.
He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that's where elevation worship really drives this point home in the latter part of the song.
Yeah.
They shift the focus to God's unchanging nature. They talk about his sovereignty, his reign, his victory over death, his faithfulness, his ultimate greatness. It's like they're saying, hey, your feelings might be all over the place,
Right.
but these things, these are your anchors. Cling to them.
It's so important to remember that our feelings are not facts.
Right.
Just because we don't feel close to God doesn't mean he's not right there with us. His character, his love, his promises, those remain constant, even when our emotions are a roller coaster.
And that's why grounding our praise in who he is, not how we feel, is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's like building our faith on solid rock instead of shifting sand. We can weather any storm when we're anchored to his unchanging truth.
It's a radical act of faith, to choose praise even when it feels difficult. But that's where transformation happens. It's in those moments when we choose to believe, to trust, to praise, that we open ourselves up to experiencing the fullness of God's presence in our lives, even amidst the struggles.
So if you're listening to this right now and you're in a hoodie season of faith, feeling that disconnect, that lack of desire to praise, you're not alone. In fact, you're in good company.
And Elevation Worship's praise is a powerful anthem for this very struggle. Turn it on, crank it up, and let those lyrics wash over you. Let them remind you of who God is, what he's done, and what he's capable of doing, regardless of your circumstances.
Because even if your praise starts as a whisper, a simple act of obedience, it can open the door to a flood of hope and connection. You might just find that choosing praise, even when you don't feel like it, is the very thing that rekindles the flame and pulls you out of that hoodie season.
It's an invitation to experience the transformative power of praise, not as a feeling, but as a choice that can shift your perspective, deepen your faith, and ultimately draw you closer to the heart of God.
And on that note, we'll leave you to dive deeper into this truth in your own life. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those praises going, even when they feel like a whisper.